Welcome back, everyone, to the Giga Weekly Show. I am your host, Luis.
I'm Adam.
I'm Daikaiju Tony.
TT.
E.T. Daikaiju
What's up, guys?
Tony.
Everybody
How
have
you
a
doing?
good Christmas? Good Christmas? Good holidays?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Nice.
We are back again after
Right.
a very special Life Day. We're just gonna let's just call it Life Day to include everyone.
Right,
How
yeah,
about just an
I like it.
inclusive Life Day. We
Just-
don't have to pick a specific holiday.
Just
Just
good-
Life Day.
just
We had a good. Did you guys have a good Life Day?
Good things about the holiday special. You know, that's the old
Yeah.
Star Wars holiday special.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. So we're back from our Christmas break now with now with less technical difficulties. Hopefully.
Fair enough.
That's the plan, right?
That's
yeah,
it.
right.
Before we go any further,
Right.
let's talk about our sponsor, Cosmic Comics.
Right.
And the fantastic store that they have here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, where
Right.
they have just about everything that you can imagine in
Yeah.
terms of like
Pop
nerdy,
culture,
geeky,
yeah.
pop culture goodness.
Yep. You got
Um,
Naruto? We got it.
You want Naruto? We got it, yeah.
Tokyo Ghoul? We got it.
We got it.
Attack on
Godzilla?
Titan.
We got it.
Listen,
Attack on Titan? We got it.
I don't work here. I partake in the shop a lot. Ask me if they got it.
Hey, do they have that?
Oh,
You
yeah,
got
they
it.
They got it. Yeah.
got
You want classic Marvel comics from the 60s? We got it. And if we don't actually have the comic,
Mhm.
we have the collections. They're called Epic Collections.
Mm.
All the first, you want classic DC, Golden Age, Silver Age, Batman? They got it.
They got it?
They got it.
They got it.
They got it.
You want-
T-shirts.
Do you want a chest from Legend of Zelda that makes the song that plays the fanfare from
Right.
Legend of Zelda once you open it up?
They got it.
They got it.
They-
All right here at Cosmic Comics.
You want to play a board game with race cars?
They got it.
You want fridge magnets that I'm looking at right now? You got it.
They got it.
They got it. They got it. So
You
yeah,
want Outline Energy? They got it.
We got it.
We got it.
We got it.
We got it.
T-shirts, like I
Right.
said, comic
got it.
books, old and new,
Right.
action figure statues, pops, all kinds of pop culture things right here at Cosmic Comics. You can
Right.
also visit us online at cosmiccomics.com where they do curbside.
And you know what they also have?
So,
A comic book box meant to hold your
Yeah.
comics
Mm.
with My Little Pony on it.
oh, you know I got to
They
get that.
got it.
You know I got to partake.
Power Rangers too.
You know I got to partake in
Ghost
that My Little
Rider?
Pony.
Transformers.
Transformers. Hellboy.
Yeah.
They got it. They got it. All right.
That should be the logo for the store.
We got it.
Yeah, Cosmic Comics. We got it.
We got it.
We got it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, anyway, so
All
please, cosmiccomics.com.
All right.
If you're quarantining, they do curbside.
Right. We do. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
come visit. Or, stay in your car and have them delivered.
That's right. We have done it. We've done it.
They've done it.
We've done it.
Yes.
All right. So
Sounds
on to this
underhanded.
episode.
You sound so underhanded.
Right. We got. So this episode we're gonna talk about 2020, except
Now,
right.
yes, so we
Right.
can talk about the pandemic. We can talk about
Everybody's done that.
We can talk about murder hornets. We can talk about political
election,
stances,
yeah,
the
well,
election.
Eh, we'll leave that for more reputable
Yeah,
news
you probably-
services or
yeah.
less reputable news services.
whatever you personally prefer.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard a lot of it.
Right.
It's saturated a lot of 2020.
Yes.
Unfortunately. So we're not going to talk about any of that stuff. I mean, a lot
We're
of the
not.
stuff we talk about might be because of the pandemic, so
Yeah,
we might
that's
mention that, but all that stuff, we're going to leave all that stuff out of it. So if you're expecting some sort of political chat, that's not going to be us. That's not
No,
the kind of show that we are.
We will talk about how some of that may have affected pop
Yeah.
culture in general, though, because
Mhm.
the pandemic has had clearly a huge effect on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to get into direct effects, more so about wider, bigger effects. So,
Let's talk about a few recent
Right.
passings, unfortunately.
yes.
Tommy Tiny Lister, for anyone
Right.
who was a fan of his from the very, very cinematic masterpiece that
Oh,
is
God.
No Holds Barred, banged out by Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan, probably while on cocaine
In a hotel room.
in a hotel room, probably within 1, 2, 3 days or something like
Something
that.
like that.
Yeah. Oh,
I think it was an 8-hour period. Honestly, just fueled.
I do recommend that
Right.
movie. Now, if
I
you
don't know if I'd recommend that. but
I
anyway.
recommend it for sure. Now, if you don't know him from No Holds Barred, you
Right.
probably know him as Debo from
Right.
the movie Friday,
Right.
the president in Luc Besson's Fifth Element,
Right. That's
Right.
right.
And
He was also in Dark.
he was in
Dark
Dark Knight.
Knight.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was the inmate who threw out the detonator.
He was
in
the only one
Joker's
brave
thing.
enough to make a decision not to basically kill everybody.
Exactly.
Or anybody, for that matter.
Yeah,
He was the honorable person, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you don't know who he is, you might know what he looks like.
Big
Tony
guy.
was born. He was a big guy, tough guy. He was born with a detached retina, which is why his eye always looked like it was sort of like maybe
Not
crossed a little
focused,
bit,
yeah.
not focused. Yeah. Which of course gave him his distinct look. He saw it as a blessing, and it kind of became his trademark in Hollywood. He was
It's
that
true.
tough guy who you weren't going to say anything about his eye. About.
Right, I'm not saying
I
nothing about his
certainly
eye.
wouldn't.
Hey, Tommy, where you looking?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think people might know him
Right.
more from as a Devo from Friday.
Right, yeah.
Wood bike.
Wood bike, yeah.
Yeah, he unfortunately passed away.
He did, yeah.
So there's that, and then of course the
Yep.
more recent passing of Jeremy Bulloch,
Right.
who was the original Boba Fett.
Yes, he was.
Jeremy was a classically trained actor, and he was in Doctor Who. Actually, he was in
Yeah,
he's
he
in
was,
episode
yeah.
2 of Doctor Who.
He's in a lot of things you wouldn't even realize he was in unless you started looking for him, yeah.
Yeah, so
That was a bummer.
that was a
And he
very
wasn't
big-
that old either. Yeah, neither of them were that old.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and there's been a lot of unfortunate passings this year, of course. It goes without saying.
Yeah.
Both celebrity and loved ones.
just
It's
not a great year. But let's focus on some better things.
Right.
Let's focus on some good things.
or things.
Or let's focus on things.
Things, yeah.
Particularly
That
bad, but they're
thing.
yeah.
I'll start off. I know one of the biggest things in this is comic books specifically.
Mhm.
And this is partially, I don't even know, I think it was part of the plan, but early in the year, somewhere around February, Marchish, April, something
Mhm.
like that, DC Comics very famously left. Well, at first AT&T bought them, which I don't remember if that was last year or this year or now. It seems so long ago. Right. AT&T bought, Time Warner, all that stuff.
You're the last Fantastic movie.
Right. And then DC famously snubbed the long time comic book distributor Diamond,
which was a huge mess.
which caused a whole lot of stuff to happen in a row. And some of those things were DC kind of made a decision with their new distributors that, hey, just to give everybody some background if you don't know, comics traditionally are sold on a Wednesday. You know how games, you can't pick up your new game until it's usually a Tuesday, but now it seems to be all days of the week.
Yeah.
Or a new movie starts on Friday, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Comic books were Wednesday. That was a comic book day. And DC famously said, with our new distributors, you can sell your comics on a Tuesday. Not the best thought out answer.
Mhm.
A lot of stores, because of how they process everything, you would basically be asking your store to be crowded with people looking for new comics on a day that is traditionally A, not busy, and B, when you're in processing all your other comics that you can't release until Wednesday.
Mhm.
So that's its own kind of issue, I guess, and that can cause, and I can say, Tony and I can say for a fact, that caused some issues here at our store.
Yeah, it didn't cause me any issues.
Didn't cause you
I
any
don't know.
issues. And I'm not going to get into the good or bad of it too much, but it was its own kind of mess, and it didn't seem like the best thought out plan from DC.
Yeah.
And I know part of that had to do with long time editor-in-chief, Dan DiDio,
Mhm.
now I believe he quit. There's I don't think anybody really knows unless they're on the inside, but it seems to me with the way DC didn't have a plan right after he left, that he probably didn't like what they were telling him and he quit. Because clearly they didn't know how to react. Like DC, there was a it's famous to us, where DC would release new news to us retailers on a Friday because then they would be out of the office all weekend. And it wasn't always the best news. So that caused a lot of turmoil. There was another factor with their distributors, which I don't think you know this, but I know you do, Tony. The distributors they went with, it was these two, I'm not going to get into names, but the two companies they went with, right? It turns out, with some very simple research, that those two companies were the two largest online sellers of comic books, which are in direct competition with your friendly neighborhood retailer like Cosmic Comics.
Beautiful Cosmic Comics.
That is potentially a conflict of interest. One distributor was nothing but problems. The other distributor has actually been very, very good, believe it or not. They seem to have taken the role of distributorship seriously, and they have been really good to work with. And so good, in fact, that the other company, apparently DC, dumped them and now is going exclusively with this distributorship.
Okay.
That has recently caused some other issues, but that has more to do with the fact that I think their business just doubled, so now they're still trying to scramble to meet everybody's orders. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of turmoil in the comic book world, but that's, I'm probably dragging this on, but
I mean, I remember that was a whole hullabaloo for especially for that week or two, I think was.
Well, for us, it
remember
was
something
several months, but yeah, it was really rough there for a little while. Yeah.
This is how much of
Right,
the
right.
inside I'm in,
Right.
not a lot.
Yeah.
So it's a week or two. It's fine. That's about as much as I heard of
Yeah.
it. Was about
Yeah,
for a week there or so.
and and Diamond changed how they do some things, which made it more difficult on certain retailers in different ways, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting year even without the pandemic. It probably would have been an interesting year.
Yeah.
For comic book stores in general. I mean, on top of that, there's been a lot of cancellations for various reasons. I don't know if they of course the excuse is, well, it's the pandemic. I don't know if that's entirely the case. I know there's been a lot of speculations about, Marvel's going to stop producing monthly comics and they're going to go exclusive graphic novels. And now that has somehow switched to DC is going to stop doing monthly comics and they're only going to do graphic novels. You know what? I'm not going to speculate. That's so hard to guess or even speculate about. I mean, there's arguments for, there's arguments against. Who knows? It would be sad if they did, but who knows?
I mean, I'm not in the industry, so I couldn't really say, but
Right.
is there something to just putting out a collection? Is it cheaper to just put the trade out than it would be to do single issues and then a trade? A month down the line.
I'm sure there's certain advantages to it, but I'm pretty sure from their perspective that the margin is probably better for the smaller book. Because if you think about it, comic book right now on average is $4 to $5. And it's roughly, depending on the company and stuff, reading material, 18 to 22 pages, somewhere around there. And a graphic novel, for the average graphic novel, I mean, you're talking about 5 times the pages at only 3 to 4 times the cost. So, I mean, I don't know the insides of printing specifically, but it seems like the comics would be more lucrative. Although much more of a pain in the butt to ship and all those things, of course. But, and I think one thing I find odd is with these big companies is there seems to be this constant push to tie in comic books with TV shows and movies. But like we work at a store, clearly fans, like the hardcore fans of the movies and TV shows, aren't hardcore fans of the comic books. Those are like two separate things, but they keep trying to tie them together. And it's kind of weird to watch, right?
It seems like every time that a movie comes out, there's a reboot of a series. If not the entire universe gets a soft reboot.
And I'll give you a prime example. Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing film.
Great film.
Miles Morales, awesome, right?
Yeah.
So likable. That book does not. It is not a popular comic book. It just isn't. And, there's several reasons for that. And I think some of it has to do with the fact that the readers of those comic books aren't the same people who enjoy that movie, or at least not in the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's weird. And there's other examples too. That's probably the biggest example I can. It's bizarre.
It is
They
bizarre.
keep trying to tie those things together, and it's not the same market. It's not the same audience. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that obviously presents its own problems,
Right.
but I mean, it's handled with the new distributor.
Right.
So, I mean, that seemed to have worked itself.
Well,
in a sense,
it's an ongoing thing. It's ongoing. I mean, it's certainly changed certain aspects of our business. It is what it is. I mean, we still get through the day and we still do what we need to do to get our customers their books rather. So, I mean, that's really all we can say about that. We get our books, of course.
Yes.
I will tell you the great irony of working in a comic book store, however, or managing a comic book store is, you think I'd have a lot more time to read comics? Yeah.
No.
Nope. No. And we give ourselves time to read comics. That's the funny thing. Like, I worked in another store years ago. That guy, you read comic on the clock, he would get mad.
Right.
Here we give each other time to read comics. I'm still behind. It's still behind. So that's kind of ironic,
caught up.
right? You're caught up. Lucky you.
Just read Spawn 1 already. Jeez. Just read Spawn number 1 already.
Yeah,
My
I'm
goodness.
only 30 years or 28 years behind. All right. What do you guys got anything
Yeah,
about the
so,
year you
I
wanted
mean,
to?
Obviously, that was
Yeah.
a whole thing with the comic book industry.
Right.
But let's talk
Probably
about
went on a little longer than I intended.
Yeah, let's talk about something that came because of the pandemic. That
Right.
could be a good thing, and that is media that is now streaming right into your house,
Right.
without you having to leave.
Right.
Obviously, with HBO Max, they're
Yeah.
going to be streaming Wonder Woman 84, which,
That's right.
by the way, streaming a lot of these movies has brought upon its own problems.
Right.
For
Piracy.
obviously for companies like
All right.
Warner Brothers, or maybe even actors, directors, and things like that. Not for me though, because I get to sit home and watch Wonder Woman 84 for whatever that's worth, or
Yeah.
or Mulan, which I haven't seen yet. But I mean,
Don't.
there's obviously
Wow. The condemning judgment by
Whoa.
Tony there.
but there's
Just don't.
obviously been a change in how we are now going to be getting our media.
Yeah. Yeah,
For better or
that's-
for worse, maybe with even the dying of movie theaters, perhaps.
That's my big concern, is that the death of movie theaters. Is this the death of movie theaters finally?
So here's the thing. Obviously, with
Speculated way back in the 80s with cable TV. Yeah. Been limping on ever since.
well, here's the thing. Obviously, with everything going on pandemic-wise, people are finding new ways to entertain themselves.
Right.
Whether it's watching more TV or going out,
Right.
learning a new skill and what have you. I think we now live in a time where we can now have everything that we want
Beamed
brought,
into our
brought
home.
to
Yeah.
us. Yeah, whether it be food or even your groceries,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like I was talking about, movies and things of that nature.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's
Yeah,
look,
it's bizarre.
Look, I'm not the kind of person that really enjoys going out in public a lot. But
Yeah.
but I do.
And
like,
we've done some public things where we're both just like, oh, there's too many people.
There's too, yeah.
Too many people.
But I do like going
movies.
to the movies.
Yeah.
I do like
Yeah, me
sitting
too.
in the movie theater. There is something about watching
Yeah.
a big budget, just great movie on a
Yeah.
gigantic screen with that fantastic sound. You can't beat it. As nice
Right.
as it is to be able to watch Mulan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In
No,
pajamas.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But that's just an example. Like, you could have gone out to a theater and watched
Right.
Wonder Woman 84, and it's nice to just be in bed in your jammies and watch Wonder Woman 84.
Right.
But there's something to be said about going to the movie theater. There's a whole experience. Forget the joke about spending $50 to go see a movie. I think the experience of watching movies is something that's going to stick with me.
Yeah.
What is nice about everything going on is things like drive-in movies. I think are starting to
I
sort
guess
of
there has been a
resurge little
resurge.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the resurgence of drive-in movies,
Right.
which is great, which is
Yeah.
fine. But
I always liked them as a teenager.
yeah, and we have one here
We have one, yeah.
in Nevada,
Very close to my house, actually, yeah.
We're very
I've
close
been
to
to
where I
it.
used to live. Yeah,
Like twice.
Oh, yeah, you did. That's right. I remember you talking about that.
but I think now we've
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
come to a time where we can have that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Just sort of come to our home. I remember even talking about it way before this. Like, it'd be great if you could just pay for this stuff to have it sent to your house. Like,
Beamed
Victoria,
in,
how,
yeah.
how can I watch this on Netflix? I don't have to leave. And it's a nice
Right.
sentiment. It's a nice thought, but there is something about going to the movies.
Yeah.
That I think I would still love to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen.
And
you
hopefully
and
we
I have
will
seen a
again.
bunch of movies
Right, yeah.
together with
Oh, yeah.
with a few friends of ours, and I mean, you can't beat the feeling.
Right.
You're right.
I agree. Yeah. It's different and things have changed. I mean, I hope that's one of the things I hope does come back. Maybe it won't come back in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll go away completely. But I hope it comes back. I
Yeah.
do. Even if it is expensive, I don't. Anyway, do you have something or?
Okay, I have something to add in terms of how. Wait, am I close enough?
You're good. Yeah.
Okay, of how the pandemic infected gaming as a whole.
Like online gaming or like board gaming or?
Video gaming.
Okay.
Mainly with the new consoles. PS5, Xbox, Series X. Well, because of the pandemic and availability of them, has gone downhill.
Yeah.
Mainly because of scalpers.
Yeah, I was gonna say there is a problem with the way they're being distributed
Yeah,
that allow
like, there's scalpers who use programs to buy
Right.
tens of thousands of them in stock and resell them for
An inflated price.
inflated price. And it's not just consoles; it's
Right.
like new graphic cards, Nvidia's.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a good point is that has really changed. That's unfortunate. Like even the PS4, you could, if you really wanted to or needed to, you could go out and as long as you were diligent, you could get it the
Yeah.
first weekend or the first week.
Yeah,
But now it's really difficult.
But this year, year there couldn't have been a line in GameStop or Walmart or
Yeah.
Best Buys. But like people waiting in lines for hours, you can't have that with the pandemic going on.
Right. And that has enabled, I guess, a form of piracy in a way.
Yeah.
Or scalping, for lack of a better term.
All I'm saying is nobody would have this problem if they were like me and still had a PS3.
Oh,
Right.
speaking of PS3, I just discovered. Well, I not really discovered. I finally used the HDMI with a PS3 because for the longest time I've been using cables. And,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah, my mind's blown. I've been playing Call of Duty Black Ops again. It's,
Wow.
it's nuts.
Anyway, we didn't want to go too long. This is the last show of the year, so we're going to
Yes.
cut it a little shorter, probably.
Just,
I mean, there's more I want to talk about, but
just,
we gotta-
I mean, we talked about some things that may or may
Right.
not be a bummer to people.
Right.
So just real quick, can we just go around and just talk about like one good thing? It doesn't have to be anything important.
Yeah.
It could just be something as simple as a movie.
But before we start, I did want to say, if there's something you wanted to bring up of how pop culture has changed because of everything that happened in the last year, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
If you thought, we should have talked more about politics, let us know in the comments and give us a thumbs down. I don't want to talk about
No,
politics,
I'm not
but
I mean, you could scream at us about you guys talk about politics or whatever.
you guys suck.
Yeah,
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm not
cool
going
with
to
it.
do that. Yeah.
I'll take
but
criticism.
you're more than welcome to complain about it. I'm not going to do it, but you're more than welcome to complain about
Right, I'll say it. So one good thing, we want to talk about one
it. It could be
good
any
thing.
good thing that you can think of.
You want to start off? Any good thing you can think of for the year? You mean
Yeah,
like
sure?
Okay.
It doesn't have to be. Yeah, we got it. Yeah. It doesn't have to be anything big or fantastical. It could just be one small thing. I mean, let's try to end on a positive note here.
Yeah, that's true. Like
I don't know how positive mine is.
Actually, you
but we'll
go
see.
first because I'm still thinking.
Oh,
Okay. What about? Okay. How about how the nation was brought together by the story of a boy and his tiger,
what? Oh, oh my god!
aka the Tiger King.
Oh god! Yeah, a lot of people talked about that
yeah,
earlier in the
Tiger
year.
King was a big. Now, when you think about it, when you really boil that documentary down, it's kind of a bummer. It's a bummer. A lot of animals have been hurt
right
because of that whole, buying of exotic animals.
Yeah.
Which is terrible. But it really became this whole sort of nationwide thing. I remember seeing the Joe Exotic ad for his presidency way back in the day.
Wait,
and
what?
Right, that's
Yeah,
right.
And I saw it on YouTube.
That
It
was
on-
before I even heard of the
Yeah,
documentary.
it was
That's
on. It
right.
was years ago.
When did he try running for president?
So he tried to run for president maybe last.
Was it the last election
Oh, I
cycle?
don't remember,
2016? It was a while ago.
Something like that.
I
It
know
was a few
Kanye
years
West
ago.
did try running.
Yeah,
But that was this last one.
But the
one
Tiger
before- was
King, I
the one before that.
remember. Yeah, I remember that. I knew I'd seen him before.
Yeah, and if you had told me that guy had this whole entire just, oh my gosh! If you told me he had this whole thing going on behind the scenes, I would not have believed you. I just thought he was just some eccentric weirdo,
Right,
with
yeah.
with a tiger,
Right.
with a tiger sanctuary. And no, I mean obviously there was more to it, but yeah, I mean it's just weird how we all sort of forgot about what was going on in lieu of talking about a woman who may or may not have killed her husband.
Oh,
God.
right.
And fed
Who
him
now
and
owns
fed
his
him
tiger
tigers. Who
farm,
now owns his tiger
apparently.
farm? Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about the game of chess.
The game of chess.
I watched Queen's Gambit. That was really good.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
It really reinvigorated people's interest in chess.
Mm.
And I think I might have said this in an earlier show. It also made people realize that they still suck at chess. But you know what? People are playing it, and you have to play against somebody, and that's a social thing that provides some distance, but yet still play a game. So closer families, more games. Those are good things.
I bought a chess set.
Yeah.
And I invited a friend to play.
Yeah.
And I set it up, and we sat down, and he made a move, and I stared at it for 2 minutes before I said, I don't know how to play chess. And then I kicked him out of my house, and I threw the chess out.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
All right.
All
What
right.
you got? What you got?
Rebuild of Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0. is finally finished in terms of production, and a while ago it had a slated release date for next year. So finally, that series is going to be over after
years. It's
years,
yeah.
decades.
It's been years,
yeah, it's been a decade since the first Rebuild movie came out,
Right.
and it's been like more than 5 years since Part 3 came out.
Yeah.
Which also means Hideaki Anno is probably most likely busy with making Shin Ultraman right now. Godzilla Singular Point, I think comes out
Yeah.
spring of next year in Japan, but if you have VPN,
VPN, I'll be watching it.
Which brings us to our sponsor,
NordVPN.
NordVPN,
Well,
ExpressVPN.
don't say their name.
Oh, yeah,
They're not
that's right.
actually. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's why I gave 2 of them. They're competing.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys, is that it? You
Yeah,
got
that's
everything? You got
Yeah.
it? We're cool?
No, I mean, you know what? We're
here.
trying to keep it short
Right.
for the end of the year.
Right.
Right?
I
I
could
wanna
probably
go
talk
home.
about a billion other things, but yeah,
Right.
we want to. Yeah, we want to go home and celebrate with our families
Right.
the new year. So
And play Cyberpunk.
Good luck.
and try to play Cyberpunk.
I'm playing Final Fantasy.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway,
Happy New Year,
so
everybody.
happy New Year to you guys, and
Right.
hopefully we will see you again, and you'll see us again.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I made that sound really ominous, like something bad was going to happen.
Well, you never know. Every day's a gift, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as you get older, you do realize that actually is true, even if it sounds really cheesy.
Even once you've aged out of a
Right.
key demographic like I did this year.
That's right. That was your year in review.
I turned 36, and I've just aged out of that important demographic. People don't care about what I think.
Welcome to the club, pal.
Hey, yo! Anyway, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And,
And you're entering that demographic.
What?
The key demographic. We'll talk about it.
Anyway, continue to stay safe.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy
Stay
New Year.
safe.
Goodbye.
See you guys.